well, we've been seeing this deck forever. That's not really going to change. I don't think anything too wild even going on with Kevin's deck list. He's actually just playing 2 colors instead of maybe Grixis or Jeskai, as we've seen over the past couple of months.
Yeah, blue-red combo twin is better in a lot of matchups in the format. It can be better against some of the combo decks. Now, it's going to be weaker here because of its lack of disruption. It doesn't have as powerful of sideboard cards. Things like, well, he does have 2 grudges in the sideboard, so that'll help him. But, the fact that he's not playing maybe something like, I guess there's like more artifact removal and more interactive things is going to hurt him here.
I mean, if you see a Jeskai splash, you'll see players play Stony Silence.
And that would be great. That's one of the death knells for the deck.
Now, it looks like Ali has a little something going here. You see all the artifacts on the battlefield. So there's 2 Ghoul Color spells, a Codex Shredder. He's got a Lantern of Insight, a Welding Jar, and a Grafdigger's Cage. So he's starting to lock in the submission hold with this deck.
All right, so most of the combo is assembled here. So if you haven't seen this, here's how it's going to work. Ali is a prison deck. So he's trying to cut off all of Kevin's methods of attack. A Lantern of Insight is letting him see both cards at the top of each player's library. So currently we have Desolate Lighthouse and Spellskite. What he has to do is value each of Kevin's draws and see if he wants to let Kevin draw them. And then he'll use cards like Ghoul Caller's Bell or Codex Shredder to mill Kevin 1 card at a time when Kevin has a card on top that he doesn't want. The last lock piece that he doesn't have right now is a copy of Ensnaring Bridge, which makes it so that Kevin's creatures won't be able to attack him. So Ali's actually taking incremental damage right now.
And it looks like Kevin with another copy of Deceiver Exarch. And now he's going to sacrifice the Misty Rainforest to search up a land. Now, one thing that Kevin does have in his hand, which may play a role in things here, is a copy of Karanos. And Karanos can actually do some work here trying to dome Ali for whatever the last points of damage are. And if you're Kevin, you're hoping the last points of damage aren't 13 of them.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that the Karanos is still in Kevin's hand is concerning for Ali.
And this is kind of one of the weaknesses of this deck is, okay, I see exactly what's going on here, and, okay, all I'm missing right now is a copy of Ensnaring Bridge. If I can find one of those, then I can put you in the real lock, but he's not just there yet.
Yeah, so Ensnaring Bridge will stop the attack damage. One thing that Ali has actually done is he also has 3 copies of Leyline of Sanctity in his sideboard. If he can get both of them in play, then he should be good. Now you see there's a card like Ancient Grudge on top of Kevin's deck. That one's also difficult because even milling it, Kevin will get 1 Ancient Grudge.
Yeah, Grudge is weird, right? Because it's bad right now, but it's also kind of good right now. So Ali's going to let him have it because he has a Welding Jar on the battlefield, and he's drawing a Spellskite, and he has an Academy Ruins. So in a weird way, it's like Grudge is great, but bad.
I'm still shocked he let Kevin draw Ancient Grudge there. Yeah. This is one of the money cards in the matchup.
Here's a Karanos, God of Storms, as Antrazi falls down to 9.
I guess what Ali's valuing is he's valuing his own Spellskite very highly and is willing to pay the price of Ancient Grudge for it. But even so, that's a tall price.
It's risky business. Antrazi has drawn that Spellskite, and now he's going to cast that Spellskite.
Last start, it can get both halves of the Ancient Grudge. It and Welding Jar can.
Yep, Karanos going to give Kevin an island, and now he gets a copy of Serum Visions. We'll have to see the top card of his deck here again in just a moment. And that card is a copy of Sulphur Falls. Now, I'm just going to say, keep in mind the old pips out there for Karanos. 5 blue and red mana symbols.
He certainly gives Kevin enough time to turn Karanos into a creature.
That's true. Could rumble on over there. Kevin going to play a copy of Ancient Grudge now, take care of the Spellskite, or at least try to. Welding Jar is going to protect that. Spellskite will be tapped given the regeneration clause. Here's an attack for 4. Antrazi going to fall down to 5.
And Antrazi needs to, I believe, be aggressively milling himself towards something like toward an Ensnaring Bridge.
Yeah, so what I think he has to do in this situation, and I'm no Lantern expert, that's for your Sam Blacks of the world, along with Zach Elsick, is you have to mill yourself, find the bridge, and protect the bridge at this point, and then you need Karanos to not find anything relevant.
Which you can do. You control the top of Kevin's deck, so the trigger off Karanos, you could make it so that Kevin just finds lands all the time with Karanos.
Surgical Extraction going to be placed into the graveyard. Ancient Stirrings on top of the deck. Ancient Stirrings gives Ali some redraws at a bridge. So I think he wants it as a draw step because he gets to take a look at 5 cards.
Even then, it's a bit of a math problem where at a certain point, when you have enough mill effects in play, it's better to just continue to mill yourself aggressively and then go from there. I think the Stirrings is still fine right now, especially because he likes the card on top of Kevin's deck. Now check. Is there there is no Ensnaring Bridge in the yard. You see Ali does have Academy Ruins in play.
I think Kevin is incentivized right now to actually play Deceiver Exarch to lock down one of Ali's mana. And the reason for that is I think he wants to be able to lock down one of his mana in his upkeep so that he can't Stirrings in the bridge and play it all in one turn.
Well, he'd lock down the Spellskite is what would end up happening.
Very true, very true.
But at 5, that's a fine consolation prize. I mean, Karanos does deal conveniently 3 damage.
Yep. So we'll see what Kevin Jones is going to target with this Deceiver Exarch, because I think he wants to go for a land, something like a Glimmer Void here, and then maybe Ali is going to redirect it. Maybe he's not. Again, we're going to have to find out here.
Well, I think Ali needs all 4 mana because the plan is to Stirrings into Ensnaring Bridge. And I'm not sure anything else works for Ali.
Well, keep in mind we're in the upkeep as well, and you mentioned the mill plan. He could just, if things don't line up correctly, he could say, okay, mill my Stirrings, mill my next card, try to find a bridge that way, and control his draw step.
Well, if he uses all his bells to do that, then not only will he have to find his own bridge, but he'll have to find a bridge and leave a land on top of Kevin's deck at the same time.
Yeah.
Because with a redirect, he's going to go to 3, so he actually can't take another Karanos hit.
All right, so Antrazi is going to have to take the damage to redirect over to Spellskite. Ancient Stirrings is the draw. What's the next card here for Ali? It's a copy of Inquisition of Kozilek, not what the doctor ordered. He's going to mill that one away.
Yeah, good selection there. He milled himself because he wanted to keep the land on top of Kevin's deck. This is a good threading of the needle right here.
And he's found an Ensnaring Bridge. He's going to take that right away. Now, it hasn't gotten any easier, trust me, as there is Ensnaring Bridge, because now he needs Karanos to cooperate in a big way.
Every turn from here on out, Karanos needs to cooperate. He will also go to 1 because Kevin will likely try to Ancient Grudge this Ensnaring Bridge, and he'll have to Spellskite redirect another time.
But it's on Kevin to remember that he has Ancient Grudge in the graveyard. That's very important in this situation. He does have the Stomping Ground, too.
I think I would want to make that play if I was Kevin before Ali untapped with blue mana.
Yep.
But we are in a situation where Ali currently has a good card on top of Kevin's deck. Now, he has to bell through 2 draws per turn, which is actually possible. But what it means is that Ali needs to be aggressively looking for more bells and more of that kind of effect. Because if you want to make your opponent draw 2 bad cards per turn instead of 1 bad card per turn, well, that's going to mean that you're going to need a lot of control over his deck. You know, look at this. Something like Cryptic Command. You simply can't let him have that card.
No, you cannot. Grove of the Burn Willows on top. It looks like Antrazi might be casting the needle.
Yeah, well, he'll have to cast whatever he draws every turn because of the bridge.
He's got to leave his hand empty.
It might not matter.
But yeah, now we're getting to the stage of things where, for Antrazi, he's got to control Kevin's deck precisely.
Yeah, and he also has to control the clock while doing this, which is actually one of the very difficult parts of the deck.
So it looks like we're having a bit of a judge call here. You see the players kind of motioning back and forth. It looks like there's a bit of a discrepancy here. Maybe he meant to activate the Codex Shredder, not the Ghoul Caller spell. That much is a little unclear at this point. So we will find out exactly what's going on down there right now.
Yeah. Some interesting things just kind of talking about the deck in general. One thing, you notice how Ancient Grudge made it into the art with Ghoul Caller's spell. Sometimes you will see players actually play a couple copies of Pixis of Pandemonium in that spot just so you have an exiling effect so that you can Pixis away, say, flashback cards and Eldrazi when they show up. Ali not using that this weekend. He's just on bells. There is some trade-off, of course. Milling your own cards is actually something you want to do with this deck.
Yep. Unsurprisingly, the very complicated Lantern deck has now a judge has to get involved. It looks like maybe a trigger was missed or something was misannounced here. Again, when we do have a precise ruling on what did happen, we will, of course, communicate it to you. But this deck is a touch complicated, especially in the situation that Ali Antrazi is in right now, where he cannot let a spell stay on top of the deck.
Yeah, it is possible. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to announce. If you say mill, you should, maybe you have to announce whether you're using a bell or a Codex Shredder. And if I believe I'm using a Codex Shredder, and then you mill the top card of your deck. I'll be like, wait, that wasn't the spell I wanted to do. Things like that can happen here. There's a lot of triggers.
Well, as we're going to come back to the booth here very quickly, Cedric Phillips Matthias on. Again, we do have a ruling for you guys on what exactly did happen there with a very complicated Lantern control deck. We'll let you know. It appears that they're rewinding play, but again, when we do have something concrete, we will communicate that information to you guys at home. But as we watch Kevin Jones and Ali Antrazi, for Antrazi, it's been a rough start here this weekend. For Jones, it's a kind of a story of highs and lows. Kevin started off 2-0, then he lost to Brad Nelson for kind of the 3-0 at that stage, and then he kind of lost his match. So now he's got to go over to the play to stay bracket instead of the battle for buys. And that obviously changes his tournament a lot, because when you're 2-0 and that start, you just beat Jacob Wilson, you're on high street, and now he's fallen a little bit lower.
Yeah, so Ali looking for that first win. For Kevin, you're right. It's a bit of, I don't think he originally at the 2-0 start thought he would be ending up in this bracket, but that's where he is right now. He has to battle back, and really in a strange matchup too.
So it looks like Antrazi, a little bit of a mistrigger action there. Not the end of the world. It looks like his draw just has to be Inquisition. He cast it, and now we're good. A Lightning Bolt on top of the deck.
Yeah, the decks were restored to the point where Inquisition and Scalding Tarn were the top cards. The remainder of the decks were shuffled, and then play was resumed from that point.
So what happened there is, okay, Karanos says, you know what, I'm going to reveal a card. Now I'm going to turn over this. Now Raman's on top of the deck. And what's really tough there is Ali cannot let Kevin draw Desolate Lighthouse. So Kevin's draw for the turn is a remand after Karanos has triggered. So
Right.
Karanos triggers and says, hey, you see a land, now you get to draw another card.
But it takes a lot of control. Ali needs to give Kevin a land every turn as the first draw.
Yep. I don't know if he can. It's going to be really hard.
It's me to vote. Well, actually, Ali now, because Ali got to keep the spell guide on that one turn, he actually could screw up once. He could miss one, and it'd be okay.
Until Kevin grudges that thing.
Exactly.
Well, I guess, no, I take it all back. He can't even cast Ancient Grudge. There's a Graph Digger's Cage in play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I take it all back. Yeah, he can't do that. So that's the issue at hand. Let's see the top card here for Antrazi. It's a Mox Opal. Gonna ring the Ghoul Caller's Bell. Both players will mill. Now there's a Pestermite on top.
Seems like Ali may have done it then. We'll see. He's got a lot of mill in play. Your locks with this deck never get up to 100%. They can get very close.
It feels like it's 100 sometimes, and that's why you see some players just give up and concede against this deck.
Codex Shredder in play. Actually, one of the glue cards of the deck, really. The fact that it's both abilities pretty relevant, that it can be one player or the other. Also, the returning target card, not irrelevant. It sets up chains with, out of the graveyard, you can Academy Ruins back a Codex Shredder and Codex Shredder back any card in the deck.
It looks like Jones is going to remand this Codex Shredder. He'll draw a copy of Pestermite, Jace on top of the deck. Codex Shredder is going to come down. Remember, this is game number 3, and sudden death does play a role in things here, so this could get a little bit ugly here for Antrazi.
So one thing that I've talked with Lantern Pods, what they have to do then is sometimes if you want to play correctly and play slowly, you can have a 100% mill. When, you can have them locked out, but it would be very slow. So you have to give up some of that equity to actually make the game end quicker. Maybe say, all right, if I play this slow and you have 3 running outs, then I have it covered. But if I need to win quickly, I'll just assume you don't have 3 important cards in a row. I'll mill you quickly.
So now we're going to see the top card here of Jones's deck. It's a copy of Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage, pretty medium here. So that would be Kevin's draw from Karanos, which means he could deal 3 damage to something.
So he'll do it, and Ali will redirect to Spellskite.
Yep. Now we see the next card, another copy of Karanos. Not particularly good in multiples.
And it is beginning to look like Kevin has no draws left.
He might be locked out of this thing. Ali's going to mill Surgical Extraction in Karanos, Mox Opal and Island on top of each player's library. The big question here is now Ali is up against Kevin as far as time is concerned.
Yeah, and you see what he did there on end step was instead of untapping, which is the safest play, he actually milled Kevin for 1 with Codex Shredder because I think he is starting to feel the clock.
Yep. And this is all part of selecting a deck, and it's selecting this deck in this kind of tournament where you know going in what the time rules are going to be. Spellskite's going to take the damage from Karanos. Desolate Lighthouse is on top of the deck. No way is Kevin getting that card. Antrazi's going to ring the bell. Thoughtseize, Lighthouse down. Ancient Stirring's on top of the deck now.
This deck is just a delight to watch it win games. Oh, my goodness.
It's really something. Shred away that Serum Vision. Shred away that Cryptic Command. Ancient Grudge on top of the way. That's leaving soon.
Yeah, can't let him have that one.
Nope. Pithing Needle on top. Play the Ghoul Caller's Bell. He'll pass the turn back, I think. Yep, take a look.
Wants to read how the clause on Karanos works.
I think Grudge is risky to give.
He's not going to give
Yeah,
Grudge.
okay.
There's no way.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I think he's going to ring the bell here. All right, so Kevin says, all right, when ringing the bell on the stack,
Crack a fetch line.
crack a fetch land. Kevin, no lands left to search up.
Not that many cards to shuffle anymore either.
All right, what's on top? Electrolyze. Yep,
Yes.
so that's going to resolve from the Ghoul Caller's Bell. Now Serum Visions is on top of the deck. Antrazi, he says, you can draw that. And now with Karanos, I'll redirect that over to Spellskite. Grudge is back on top of the deck again.
Serum Visions gives Kevin some control over the top of the deck, but with 5 milling effects in play for Ali, it is likely not enough.
I think this is Magic. I'm not sure.
This is great.
There are Magic cards involved. This is the most obscure deck in Modern by so much. All right, ring the bell. Grudge down. Spellskite and Negate on top of the deck. Second Spellskite's nice.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, he's just got to go fast. Look at the clock that they're fighting against. Ali knows it, too. To play this deck proficiently, you have to go quickly.
Yep, shred that too. Cryptic Command on top of the deck. Ollie's going to quickly untap, draw Glimmer Void. That'll be his play for the turn. Blackleaf Cliffs on top of the deck. Pass the turn back over to Jones. Kevin with the Pestermite in hand. Not a lot of cards there, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, he realizes if this goes to time, there's no way Kevin is surviving through extra
Nope,
turns.
not a shot. Lantern has Kevin Jones in the submission lock right now. It took Antrazi a little while to get there, but with a little help of Spellskite, some nice sequencing to be able to find a copy of Ensnaring Bridge. The Ghoul Caller's Bell is going to be rung. And you can see Antrazi kind of senses it now. Kevin with 7 cards left in his deck. The top one's a Cryptic Command.
Well, what that means is Ali actually, at the end of this turn, can tap all his artifacts, mill Kevin, untap, main phase, tap them all again, say go, and win.
Yep.
So we are looking at Kevin's last turn.
And actually, depending on how he wants to do it, because 7 cards, there's 5 bells out there. Okay, so he can't do it now if there's a Karanos. Like if Karanos draws a card?
Close, but no.
Okay. Kevin's going to sacrifice this fetch land.
Well, he gets to look at his deck.
See what I'm working with? Not a lot. It's always humbling when you have to shuffle like 10 cards.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're so you start used to shuffling 60. It's like, I can't do this. See what the top card is. It's a basic island. That's going to get milled over.
Yeah, this is with a bell activation on the stack.
Yep. Remand and Abrupt Decay staring at each other now. Remand will be the draw here for Kevin. It looks like Ollie's going to let that go.
Kevin's last draw of the game.
Ollie says you're going to redirect that to Spellskite, Karanos. Top card now, Cryptic Command.
That was the one that Kevin wanted,
Yep,
but there was no way he was going to get it.
yep. There's a Sulfur Falls here for Jones. The worst part about playing this deck, and there are a lot of horrible things, it's when you it's when you get really close, like
Yeah.
Kevin is right now, where he can just, I'm so close to winning.
Look, if this Serum Visions resolves, he gets to win.
Yeah, I am so close to killing you. Ring the bell.
This deck's a delight.
It's
just.
It's
Oh, man.
really something. All right, so we're going to get a weird stack now where Kevin's going to go, all right, I'll remand my Serum Visions. All right, ring the bell.
Let's get as many card draws as we can here.
Yep. He could kill himself from drawing cards. Ollie going to set up the stack here a little bit, make it pretty clear for the players.
I believe that bell is between the Serum Visions and the Remand. I think that stack is set up. But as long as they resolve
we're
it
good.
correct, it's good.
So now Remand on the stack. Remand is going to resolve. So that's going to get there. So you get your Scalding Tarn, and your Serum Visions goes back. Now there's a bell activation on the stack.
All right, now both players mill one.
Yep. There goes a Glimmer Void. Kevin, what's next? Sulfur Falls on top for Inquisition. Inquisition for Ollie.
Remember, this is still Kevin's last turn, and
He gives, that's it. That's the lock. That's Lantern doing what Lantern does. And for Ali Antrazi, he is now on the board. 0-3 through Legacy, but he gets his first one here this weekend thanks to Modern, much like Alex Bustecki.
All right, so both of them on the board here.